next honoree is one of those, well, almost like our last one. It doesn't need any introduction. Joseph Meissner has been active in the community through his law practice, through the Friendship Foundation with Ms. Ryan, through the Vietnamese community. As you can see in here, that he helped bring in people from the Vietnam and people from Cuba who were refugees. He represented over 20,000 clients, worked for civil liberties. He's a great supporter of the military. And he's more than well deserving, if you read his entire bio, of this award because of his support of the ideals of our movement. So let me present to you our second awardee, Joseph Meissner.
Irene. Oops.
Get ready.
Hi there.
Ready?
Look this way.
Paparazzi.
Yeah. Marines for your lifetime achievements. Receiving the Bronze Star for your service in Vietnam. Your support of the Vietnamese people who you taught English during your off hours. Your assistance in settling Vietnamese in Greater Cleveland and sponsoring refugees from communist Cuba. You worked as a VP of Friendship Foundation, that sponsors humanitarian missions to Indochina and helping our allies in the battle against communism. Your work as a distinguished author of Legal Warriors and the Green Berets and Their Victories, and your values of family, life, and support of the movement presented this day by the members of the American Nationalities Movement. Congratulations.
Do I need a microphone?
Yes.
See, my middle name is Patrick. That's Irish, and the voice came from my mother from Ireland. Today, I am very honored to be here. The people that have gone before us, you've already heard some of the names. Senator Lauschy, of course, the Fians, the Voinoviches. Don't forget that you've got a husband and a wife there with the Voinoviches, as you have with every other famous person that we honor. I want to introduce, first of all, Tim Russo. Where's Tim? And Tim, by the way, is my associate in law. He's also, for your benefit, got the time cards. So, Your Honor, Judge Perk, we're going to take 8 minutes. I'm going to speak for about 4 with 4 points. We're then going to have some members of an oppressed community and nation for 2 minutes, and then we're going to have one of their projects here in Cleveland to join all the rest of you with a cultural garden, and they have 2 minutes. So how much does that equal? 8 minutes. So Tim, take me away if I'm still here after 8. I also want to honor a couple of other people. Will you stand? And don't applaud for them, just stand. Dr. George McCarthy. Dr. McCarthy is the president of the Friendship Foundation. He came all the way from Phoenix today, suffering from all that heat to get here. Secondly, this is a spokesperson leader for the Mexican community. Sometimes I mix her up with Puerto Rican. No. Marie Galindo. Marie, stand. Third, we have Michael Powell. Michael is the husband of Juan. You're going to hear from her a little later. Michael's an outstanding engineer. Murat Guerrer. Salam alaikum. Murat is one of the leaders in the Turkish community, which you know right now is undergoing a lot of turmoil. Murat also took us back to Turkey twice with trips of people going to learn what's going on there. Ken Kovac. Ken, everybody knows Ken. God. At one point, I thought I was the oldest person in the room, but Ken beats me, I think. Anyway, Ken is the head of ICC, WIN, and many other groups in Cleveland. And then Asim Dada, where's Asim? The Indian community. Asim is constantly there supporting them and their goals. Well, today, I am going to have 4 points in what I say. And the 4 points relate to the history, mission, triumphs, and future goals of the American Nationalities Movement. You have to understand the American Nationalities Movement sees that communism is not the world's future, but actually an evil that was endured by so many people for so many decades. The 4 points I want to make begins with the first one, and that's with Judge Perk. Where's Judge Perk?
Right here.
There he is. By the way, you should know that I'm supposed to have eye surgery, and I really need it. Okay, so Judge Perk, one time I asked him what had he done that he was really proud of as a judge. And you know what he told me? I helped marry 2,000 couples. 2,000. And he has photographs of most of them, if all of them. Now, why do I bring up family as my first point? Because communism sought to undermine and destroy the family. It sought to break up husbands and wives and have children report on the bad deeds of their parents so the parents could be punished. So one of the goals of the American Nationalities Movement has been to preserve our society and preserve our sense of family. So Judge Perk has followed in that tradition. So that's the first point I want to stress to you of the American Nationalities Movement. The second point I want to stress about the American Nationalities Movement is that it has stood up for the rights of people to gather together to protect their history, their culture, their philosophies, their literature, their language. Now, who are some of those groups? Do we have any Ukrainians in the room? Do we have some Ukrainians? Does everybody know what happened in the 30s in the Ukraine?
Yes.
Everybody knows, right? Stalin, in order to industrialize, seized all the food, shipped it out and sold it, and meanwhile starved all the people. And how many died in that genocide? How many? At least 6 million. What are some other nations that we should recall tonight? Eastern Europe, you know, was seized by the communists after World War II. And some of the countries there tried to get out. One of them was 1953. Who was that? 1953? The East Germans. Remember, it was the workers that rose there in revolt. I was wondering when I read about that as a student, what did Karl Marx think of that? Workers of the world unite and throw off communism. That's what they tried to do. Did they succeed then? No. Another group, 1956, what happened then? And do you remember who was the leader, the brave leader there in Hungary? Well, that's one of my heroes, but there was a man politician who had been a communist. Imre Nagy. And I remember, because I was a kid then in 56, the communists left. And for 4 days, Hungary was free. And the promise was that they were going to leave for good. Well, they didn't. Back came the tanks. Did Hungary get its freedom then? No. Another group that tried for freedom, the Czechs. In what year did the Czechs try? 68. Did the communists there keep their pledge to try to let Prague's spring bloom? No. Okay. What I'm bringing out is that all of these countries, East Germany, Hungary, Romania, all the rest of them, were trying on the inside to break the bonds of being oppressed, but that wasn't working, and so they needed outside help. And where did they get that outside help? From groups like the American Nationalities Movement. There was a purpose behind American Nationalities Movement besides simply getting together for a wonderful dinner every year. The American Nationalities Movement, already we have names that we should recall from that, including Mayor Ralph Perk, the Voinoviches, and others. The American Nationalities Movement every year celebrates or remembers captive nations. And we should remember this year, captive nations. So that's the second point I wanted to bring up to you. The third is the fact that today, are there still countries under communism? One of the biggest is China, 1.3 billion people. What about North Korea? 25 million under a nut dictator. Cuba, 10 million. And Vietnam? The Vietnamese don't answer this. How many people live in Vietnam? Does anybody here want to make a guess? 25 million? 80? 70? It's over 100 million. 100 million people there that want freedom. Today, every year, we have the Captive Nations Proclamation. How many minutes?
That says 8, Joe.
Left or going?
No, you've gone 8.
I've gone 8.
You have to
I'm
go.
almost done.
You have to.
That's a fast count from my own partner. Okay, you should read those proclamations. I just want to read you one line here. We recognize the inherent dignity of all people, and we renew our support for those struggling under oppressive regimes. Who wrote that? President Barack Obama last year. Here's another one. This is from our current president. Freedom is a powerful yet fragile force, and we must remember that word fragile. It needs protection.